Musk's stream of insults, including calling Navarro Peter Retardo.
The girls are fighting in the White House. Okay, the catfights are breaking out, and this time it's between the trade advisor, Peter Navarro, who is advising Trump with his current trade war and all these kind of tariff policies that they've been rolling out, and Elon Musk, the head of Doge, who is a top advisor to the president, but sees the issue of trade very differently than Peter Navarro, who is a hardcore anti-trade person, whereas Elon, at his core at least, wants to see more free trade. So take a listen to this coverage from NewsNation, summing up the beef between these two that's frankly getting catty and all happening out in the public eye. Take a listen to this coverage from Leland Verte over at NewsNation.
Washington here at times resembles the middle school playground. The values are about the same, as to say being popular in Washington almost objectively does not make you a good person. Trump's senior counselor Peter Navarro and Elon Musk's public clash over tariffs resembles two bullies vying for attention from the class's prettiest girl. Musk's stream of insults, including calling Navarro Peter Retardo on social media, are not the united front the White House needs right now. In fact, it's the opposite of what they need. Musk also wrote, Navarro is truly a moron. What he says is demonstrably false. And Tesla has the most American-made cars. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. Musk then went on to apologize to bricks. These posts come in reaction to Navarro's interview on CNBC yesterday.
We all understand in the White House, and the American people understand, that Elon's a car manufacturer. But he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler in many cases. If you go to his Texas plant, a good part of the engines that he gets, which in the EV case is the batteries, come from Japan and come from China. We want the tires made in Akron.
The Navarro versus Musk debate might as well be Navarro against President Trump's entire cabinet and most Republican members of Congress. Playing kindergarten teacher today was White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
These are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue. And you guys should all be very grateful that we have the most transparent administration in history.
So the tea is piping hot. I mean, they are just going at it in public with each other, bashing each other. And whoever you agree with, however you feel about this issue, I will say that's not a great look for any White House to have such important, influential people fighting publicly. Like, it is good to have a diversity of views in your White House and your team and your cabinet, but those arguments are supposed to happen behind closed doors. And while it's slightly funny, Musk calling him Peter Retardo or saying he's dumb as bricks and then apologizing to the bricks, that one did make me laugh. I'm not going to lie. I don't like that, though, in general, that kind of insults, the name calling. I try to avoid that. But I will say, I think Elon is correct on the merits here. I think Peter Navarro is totally wrong, saying totally incoherent things that every other economist in the world disagrees with, which is why, guys, he had to make up a fake economist that he's repeatedly cited in his work over the years, who doesn't exist. I'll prove that to you and show that to you in a minute, guys. But first, here's a clip of Peter Navarro and the advice that he's giving the Trump administration when it comes to trade.
But my point here is this: they're coming now and saying, we want to talk, we'll lower our tariffs to zero if you'll lower your tariffs. That's not the problem. Vietnam is a great example, Laura. They sell us $15 for every one we sell them. Zero tariffs would get us no reduction in the $123 billion deficit we have. And five of that $15 they sell us, you know what? It's China. It's that clip you showed about Cambodia, how China just comes over. It's the same thing, right? It's the same kind of, we call it transshipping. It's just...
So at least in the Peter Navarro wing of Trump's cabinet, it's not about reducing tariffs. It's not about like using reciprocal tariffs to negotiate with other countries and get lower tariffs overall for everyone. I have some issues with that approach, but at least I think in theory, it makes sense. We can have that conversation. Peter Navarro just thinks trade is bad. He just thinks it's inherently a problem that Vietnam sells us things we need and use and want, and we give them money for it. And because they're a much poorer country, I think they have an income per person about $5,000, they don't buy that much from us in return. So we have a trade deficit. which is also a goods surplus, where it just means we get more stuff and they get money. I have a trade deficit with my grocery store because I've bought stuff I need from them for years and they've never bought anything from me. But I'm not being harmed or ripped off. It's just a mutually beneficial exchange. So trade deficits are not bad. In fact, as the Tax Foundation, and I'll put this up on the screen, has explained, the money that we give out in trade deficits that leaves the US and goes out into the world, a lot of it actually gets reinvested back in the US because the dollar is the global reserve currency. So because of this unique status, it's really fine and actually not harmful for the US to just run trade deficits into perpetuity. It comes back as foreign investment, a lot of it, and we've been running trade deficits for decades, both in times of a strong economy and times where we have a weak economy. It's simply not actually a bad or harmful thing. So I'm Team Elon on this one. I think he's absolutely on the right side of this debate, especially because of the random shade Peter Navarro's been throwing at Tesla, which is an American company that makes its cars in America mostly. It's just nothing he's saying about it is true or correct. I'm Team Elon on this one. Trump needs to fire Peter Navarro, get him out of the White House. He doesn't understand what he's talking about, and listen to Elon when it comes to economics, okay? Peter Navarro, and we're going to go over this, again, like I mentioned, made up a fake economist that he repeatedly cites in his books and his papers and his work because no actual economists, serious economists, agree with him. So when he was writing a book, he made up a fake one that he could repeatedly quote and cite. Seriously, guys. And this is not new. This isn't some gotcha people are pulling up now to discredit him. This was reported on years ago. Take a listen to this reporting from like half a decade ago from CNBC.
But the resident White House hawk, Peter Navarro, is leaning on his fictional alter ego, which he calls Ron Vera, to disseminate a case that tariffs are good and a phase one deal is bad. In an email memo circulated on Monday, December 9th, obtained by CNBC and first reported by the New York Times, Ron Vera makes this contrarian argument that, quote, tariffs are working to defend economy and have had no negative impacts on growth or stock market rise. They spur growth by improving net exports. And he also suggests the White House, quote, get uncertainty out of the market by announcing no deal until after the election and ride the tariffs to victory. It's unclear why Navarro wanted these talking points out there, especially under the stage name of Ron Vera, and how widely he circulated this memo, the authenticity of which he confirmed to the New York Times. We reached out to Navarro and the White House for comment. Navarro himself has been arguing upstream against this phase one deal since it was announced, Brian, but certainly now he's taking his case over email and sending out these arguments as his alter ego, Ron Vera, instead.
Some sort of jumbled up anagram of his last name, obviously. I mean, do we?
Right.
Does he have another one? Is there like a third one, Kayla, that you know of?
So far as we know, Ron Vera is the one that he leans on the most. He came under fire for this back in October when an Australian scholar realized that this character, Ron Vera, was appearing in many of Navarro's books and that he couldn't find this expert cited elsewhere. Navarro said it was an open secret, that it was essentially an inside joke that had spilled out into the open. But even after coming under fire for that and criticizing journalists for using their own anonymous sources, why Navarro chose to lean on this identity again to disseminate this case is really perplexing.
So on one hand, you have the genius entrepreneur, and on the other hand, you have the economist who doesn't understand basic economics and made up fake people to cite in his research and his books. Gee, I wonder who Trump should listen to. To me, it's pretty clear that with this drama going on between the two of them, it needs to be shut down. No more public name calling, but Trump should listen to the Elon approach, not the far-fetched fringe ideology and innumeracy of Peter Navarro. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.